Hello, Super City, and welcome to Breaking Suplah. The draft happened. Everything's changed. What the fuck? We know. You probably don't know. That's why you're here. My name's Sam Brooks, and I'm with Liam Dunn.
I just want to apologise for the sound. There's, I think, a rubbish lorry going round collecting the rubbish. I've had to open the window. It's too hot. Don't ask why I've got a woolly hat on because of that. I know that contradicts everything, but yes. Anyway, we're just going to have to put up with the sound for now. I know it's terrible, but as Sam said, we got the draft last night, which we've heard about for 2 months. It has been rumoured since before WrestleMania that this was going to happen. So let's kind of just, before we start discussing the results of the draft, I feel like I have to speak up now. It's coming past the house. Before we talk about the results of the draft, we have to talk about why this has actually happened. Because I've always said it's a bit random that they introduced the draft in 2016. It was obvious why they did it in 2002 because of after the invasion and with the purchase of WCW and ECW, there was an influx of an enormous amount of talent, and to kind of give everyone their ability to be showcased, they split up the rosters, which is fine. You had 2 hours on Raw, 2 hours on SmackDown, 1 hour of Heat, 1 hour of Velocity. So each show had 3 hours as opposed to, you know, The Rock being on Raw and SmackDown and then the same people just being recycled over and over, which is kind of what we saw, towards the end of, like, after the brand split ended, the first brand split ended, and it became, like, you know, everyone was on everything sort of show. That's kind of what happened, like, you know, for example, this past week we had 2 WWE Championship matches, one on Raw, one on SmackDown, involving the exact same people. Right, that's just sort of an example that I'm giving. So, what's happened is that SmackDown very much felt like it was the B show. The World Heavyweight Championship, when it was still around, was considered more of a mid-card belt than a world title. That's why they kind of got rid of it. SmackDown still 2 hours, whereas Raw is 3 hours. And a lot of the time, SmackDown used to have the Raw Rebound or the Raw Rewind or whatever, but it was something that basically it was just like, this happened on Raw. And it felt very much like that. You didn't really see on Raw what happened on SmackDown. And so it kind of felt like the afterthought. It always felt to me like SmackDown was made just to fill out that time slot that they had. And I think USA felt the same, and they said to WWE that they weren't happy with the ratings that SmackDown was getting. And this is something that SmackDown's been suffering with for quite a while. They were on, I think, UPN, and then they went to Sci-Fi, and then they went to, obviously, USA Network. They were on Thursday nights, then they were on Friday nights, and they went back to Thursday nights. SmackDown has really struggled in these past couple of years. Whereas you compare it to Raw, Raw was on Spike TV for a while, and then it went to USA, and it's always been on Mondays. There's never been an issue. Except when it turned to 3 hours. SmackDown's always felt a bit like it was struggling, and USA's noticed that, and they said that WWE needs to do something about it. And obviously, USA has Raw, which is what they consider the flagship. They don't want to jeopardize their relationship with USA Network again. So they have done this draft, and this is a way to, you know, at first, I was a bit confused as to why they were doing it. I don't know if it's a good idea. Now I think it's, after some reflection, after 2 months, I think it is a good idea. It's going to give people a chance to shine. I think it's going to offer some new matchup types that that we haven't seen before. But there's still a lot of unanswered questions. But before we get to the unanswered questions, we may as well run down who's where.
Indeed. So, the draft was done, both on the SmackDown Live edition, and there was also I suppose, a supplementary draft on a, network continuation, wherein a total of 59 superstars were drafted. Let's go round by round, shall we? Do it as quick as we can. The first overall pick for Raw, Seth Rollins. Then
Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I know. Very surprising. And then the WWE Champion, Dean Ambrose, goes to SmackDown. Very interesting to see. Women's Champion Charlotte goes to Raw, AJ Styles to SmackDown, and from NXT, Finn Balor goes to Raw.
We should also probably know at this point just kind of some of the rules in that Raw gets 3 picks per round, whereas SmackDown gets 2 picks because Raw is 3 hours, SmackDown is 2 hours, and Raw, for some reason, always gets the first pick. I think that's just down to the way it works out.
Yeah.
Because it's 5 people per round, Raw 3, SmackDown 2, kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So Raw always gets the first and last pick, SmackDown gets 2, Raw gets 3. Stables are considered 1 pick unless specifically said, by the commissioner or the general manager. I don't know why they have both. I'm a bit confused as to why they have both. Like, that's a completely different rant. But less specifically said, stables will act as one pick. So let's look at round 2.
We got Roman Reigns to Monday Night Raw. So the Shield have been broken up officially.
I just want to say, isn't it a bit weird that he's supposed to be like, he's being groomed as the next big guy, and yet he was the 6th pick overall. Even Finn from NXT was picked before him.
Oh, you see, Liam, there's a lesson in that. Don't violate the wellness policy.
Good point.
John Cena goes to SmackDown, and he's staying there this time.
Where he originally started.
Indeed. Brock Lesnar goes to Raw. Very surprising. I thought he would remain undrafted as a free agent, but no. Raw is Lesnar. Randy Orton goes to SmackDown, and the WWE Tag Team Champions, The New Day, are on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Round 3, Sami Zayn to Raw. Bray Wyatt by himself. No Wyatt family, just Bray Wyatt to SmackDown. Mm-hmm. Very interesting to see how that plays out. Sasha Banks to Raw. Becky Lynch to SmackDown, confirming a split in the women's division. And finally, for round 3, Chris Jericho to Raw. Now, this is where the champions come in again. Round 4, United States Champion Rusev with Lana is on Raw. And the Intercontinental Champion The Miz with Maurice is on SmackDown. Followed by Kevin Owens on Raw. So Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are in fact on the same brand. They will fight forever. Confirmed. Baron Corbin to SmackDown, and Enzo and Cass to Raw. They stay together. They have not been split up as many rumoured. And this is where things get a little bit sad, ladies and gentlemen. Round 5, the club is split up with Gallows and Anderson going to Raw.
Mm-hmm.
And a call up from NXT for SmackDown. American Alpha.
Woo!
Doing good. Big Show to Raw. Oh,
Good,
fuck.
get rid of him. I'm more excited for SmackDown at this point.
Totally. You say that. Dolph Ziggler to SmackDown.
I like Dolph. I think he's just being jobbed out.
I would say, but we all have our own opinions here. And from NXT, the most popular women in the women's division of NXT, Nia Jax.
Wait, Nia Jax?
Not Bayley.
What?
Nia Jax.
But, okay. I heard rumours that Bayley was going to go.
Yep. That was a very high rumour, but no, it's Nia Jax.
Apparently there was even hugger sections.
Yeah.
Posters in the audience. So clearly, because before we move on to round 6, which is the last one that was aired on television before going to the network, we kind of just need to say, again, another kind of update. Apparently, Creative was arguing up until about an hour before the show went live as to who from NXT specifically is going to be called up. So I think that they were going to go with Bayley for a long time, for a while. That's why they have the hugger section pictures printed out. But then, obviously, they must have swapped it to Nia Jax because Bayley is probably the biggest, the most popular women's wrestler in NXT. You'd think she would be the one that would get picked on television. I mean, we'll go down the list. I'm sure there's more women that were picked from NXT. But it's just surprising. Like, Bayley is one of the most over people in NXT. She's been there for a long time. You'll think that she would get called up by now.
You would think, but we'll talk about that later when we talk about the implications of Battleground. And I think they have some big plans in store. Final televised draft round. Neville returned and went to Raw. Natalya goes to SmackDown. Cesaro, for some reason, was pick number 28 overall, goes to Raw. Del Rio to SmackDown, and
bearing
finally...
in mind that Cesaro was actually above Del Rio, who's a former world champion. Just saying.
But Nia Jax was also above Cesaro, so I don't really know.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And finally, the biggest pick of all, the most anticipated draft pick of them all, Sheamus on Raw.
Sheamus on Raw.
Who fucking cares?
Wow. So that was the first 30. We may as well talk about the other 29 that went over to Raw and SmackDown. So we may as well just go through this as quickly as we can.
Indeed. Shooting the breeze with the supplemental draft. Golden Truth, Raw. The Usos, SmackDown. Titus O'Neil, Raw. Demon Kane, specifically Demon Kane, SmackDown. Paige, Raw. Round number 8. Darren Young with Bob Backlund, Raw. Kalisto, SmackDown. Sin Cara, Raw. No more Lucha Dragons. Oh no. Naomi to SmackDown, Jack Swagger to Raw, and The Ascension to SmackDown. Continuing, we have the Dudley Boys to Raw, Zack fucking Ryder to SmackDown, Summer Rae to Raw, Apollo Crews to SmackDown, Mark Henry to Raw, and Alexa Bliss from NXT to SmackDown. Very interesting to see that call-up. Round 10, the penultimate round, Braun Strowman, Beef Stroganoff, Bro Strongman to Raw.
So that means the Wyatts are Braun Strowman is no longer a Wyatt family member in that case.
Well, he is, he's just by himself.
Oh, okay.
Very sad to see. Breezango to SmackDown. Bo Dallas of the Social Outcasts to Raw. Eva Marie, all red everything to the blue brand, SmackDown. Shining Stars to Raw, Vaudevillains to SmackDown. And the final round. Alicia Fox to Raw, Eric Rowan to SmackDown. Dana Brooke to Raw. Oh fucking god, Mojo Rawley to SmackDown. Curtis Axel to Raw, and Carmella from NXT to SmackDown. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen.
But there's one person, specifically one person, that has been missed out. And you might realise, because we only mentioned 2 members of the 3-teamed Social Outcasts, 3-man team Social Outcasts, Heath Slater was not drafted.
And they made it into a bit on television.
Yes. They made it into a bit on television where he was there until, I think the lights went out.
Yeah.
And he was just sat there. Heath Slater did not get drafted. I'm a bit confused as to where this is. I don't know if this was just meant to be as like a little laughter bit, a little comedy bit, or if he's going back to NXT, or if he's going to try and, like, they're going to turn this into a storyline.
The hottest free agent in WWE, Heath Slater.
Well, to be fair, Sam pointed this out to me before we started recording. He has a win over Seth Rollins.
He does. He has a win over a wide variety of people.
Don't forget, him and Justin Gabriel beat John Cena and David Otunga for the tag titles.
They did.
You know, he's not, like, he's a big player in some respects.
In some respects. He's a 6-year veteran of WWE.
He is a 6-year veteran. That's weird to think.
That is. But it's not just Heath Slater who was undrafted. There are a couple of other names that were also not drafted for whatever reason. Those names, of course, being Emma, who is out with a back injury. Luke Harper, who is also out with an injury. Tyson Kidd, who may never come back. Nikki Bella, who may never come back. Tamina, nobody knows where she went. And The Undertaker. Wow.
Yeah, I think, well, it's surprising because, like you said, like, Brock Lesnar we all thought would remain a free agent and they could use him wherever they want. I think that's going to go to the thing about The Undertaker is he's not really an active competitor. He comes out once a year.
He's more of a summon, if anything. You summon him when you need him.
Yeah, and I think WWE realise that.
They do.
So they will just put him, it will just be, oh, Vince McMahon is annoyed at this person. Fight The Undertaker, damn it! Sort of thing. Like, every WrestleMania.
Yeah,
so,
right.
But also the other one, because technically he's still under contract. He still works for them. Ryback. Obviously,
Actually, there have been developments and it's said that Ryback will be released when his contract is up. Says Ryback himself. It'll either be in August or October, apparently, according to his Twitter spree. But
so there's clearly no sort of they've never managed to come to some sort of conclusion. The two sides then.
R.I.P. in peace, Ryback. But before we talk about the champions on each show and the divisions of each show, we should also probably mention that the commentary teams have had a bit of a shuffle as well.
Yes, we should.
We have on Raw, calling Raw, Michael Cole. Byron Saxton and Corey Graves.
I can get on board with that one.
Any time where JBL isn't hazing Saxton in front of a live TV audience.
I mean, I know we do it to Andy. Andy.
But we've never said we would kill him to charge an iPhone. We don't go that far.
We've not been that harsh.
No.
JBL.
But,
JBL is so terrible. I will never forget Fastlane when he just chanted Chris Jericho for about 5 minutes. No, you've still got it to Chris Jericho for 5 minutes. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah. Does he still have it, though? I didn't know that, JBL. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah.
Speaking of JBL, he's on SmackDown now with Mauro Ranallo and David Otunga. I bet Jerry Lawler feels a bit upset that he's not on any commentary team, despite his suspension being lifted.
Yeah.
Where's he?
I don't know. I said to you that I think that he's probably asked for like a lighter schedule.
Probably. He'll probably replace Corey Graves on the pre-show analyst panel, whatever that is, with Lita, Renee, whoever else.
He'll be there with Booker T and the other guy. I don't know his name.
I think his name is Renee Young.
No, not on the Raw pre-show.
I don't even watch the Raw pre-show, dude.
Yeah, no,
I just watch the pay-per-view. There's another guy.
Yeah, he's
Tom
got white
Phillips.
hair and a receding hairline.
White hair and a receding... Oh! Fuck, what is his name?
I don't know.
What is his name? Scott...
That's what...
Scott something.
Scott Calvin.
Scott Stamford. That's it.
Probably.
Yeah. But anyway, commentary teams are looking good for Raw, SmackDown, I'll just have it on mute. And that's a shame, because I like Mauro Ranallo.
Well, I was going to say, I'm actually really excited for the Raw brand. I think they've got some decent people. They've got AJ, they've got Dean, they've got, well, Cena, but, you know, that means that they're really pushing SmackDown to be a big brand if they put Cena on it. Orton's also on there. You've got Wyatt, you've got Becky, you've got the Intercontinental Championship, you've got... Okay, that's mainly it.
That's it. You've listed all of the benefits of SmackDown, right? But
you know,
let's just take a look at the champions for a second, what each brand has to their name.
Yes.
So, SmackDown, as you have said, has the WWE Champion, Dean Ambrose, and the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
That's it.
On Raw, they have the Women's Champion, the United States Champion, and the Tag Team Champions. And... if rumors are to be believed, they will soon have a Cruiserweight Champion for their Cruiserweight division.
Yes. Which means that so far, because they'll obviously bring back the Cruiserweight Champion, or maybe they'll just introduce a new version, kind of like how they were like, yeah, we've got the Women's Championship. It's not the same as the one before, it's a completely different one.
It's totally different for some reason. But another interesting thing to note is that for whatever absurd reason, a lot of things have been split. Tag division, split. Women's division, split. Wyatt family, split. The club, split. My parents, split. They split up a lot of things. To what end? Am I right? Because they have women on both brands, they have tag teams on both brands, but they only have the championships on one brand. What's Becky Lynch fighting for on SmackDown if not for the Women's Championship?
Yeah, I think for me they've kind of done this a really weird way. You know, you look at the singles championships such as the WWE Championship, the US, the Intercontinental, I think they kind of are their own beast, and we'll discuss them in a minute. But when you look at the divisions, such as the Women's Division, the Tag Team Division, and the upcoming return of the Cruiserweight Division, they should have, I genuinely think that they should have been drafted kind of as a division.
They should have kept the women on Raw and put the tag teams on SmackDown.
Yeah, because this is the thing. This is the problem that USA and WWE's had. That SmackDown doesn't really have an identity.
No.
And neither does Raw. They kind of like, you know, you've got Raw, which is like the first half, or maybe first 3/4, and then SmackDown's kind of like the end credits scene of a film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not really seen upon, but then Raw, its only identity really is, and his name is John Cena. That's kind of the identity of Raw. Whereas if you split up the divisions, then you kind of give them their own flavour. Remember back when it was, I think in the heyday of the original brand split, sort of like 2005, yes, there was tag team divisions on both shows, but the women's division was specifically on Raw, even though there was women on SmackDown, didn't really make much sense. But the women's division was specifically on Raw, and the Cruiserweight was specifically on SmackDown, so they had their own divisions that gave each brand their kind of different identity. You know, you'd see the stronger women's competitors on Raw, you'd see the high flyers of SmackDown obviously on SmackDown. Whereas now that you've split up the women's division and the tag team division, what does that mean for someone like Becky Lynch or Natalya, who is going to be on SmackDown? They've got nothing to do, so they kind of just go out there and fight for no real reason. Yeah. On the other hand, you've got tag teams like, I think the Vaudevillains are on SmackDown?
Yeah, let's actually have a rundown of which important players are on which brand. Let's start with tag teams. You have the Champions, New Day on Raw, Enzo and Cass, Gallows and Anderson, Golden Truth, the Dudleys, and the Shining Stars on Raw. Mm-hmm. Pretty stacked in terms of tag teams. Meanwhile, SmackDown has American Alpha, the Usos, the Ascension, Breezango, and the Vaudevillains. I think they got the short end of the stick there.
They did. I think the tag team should have stayed on Raw.
Should have.
I think, for me, the tag team should have been on Raw. The women should have been on SmackDown. Have the Cruiserweight on Raw still. Because the other thing as well is that obviously you've got 2 mid-card belts. One's on Raw, one's on SmackDown. That makes sense. But what's going to happen with the world title? So, again, going back to Raw, we know there's going to be 4 championships. You've got the tag team, the women's, the US, and the Cruiserweight. But they haven't got a world championship, which is now going to be on SmackDown. They haven't said, this is what I mean, there's a lot of unanswered questions. They haven't said if, like, the women's championship is going to be on both brands. They haven't said that the WWE championship is going to be on both brands. Because that's what originally happened when the draft first started. The undisputed champion, regardless of what brand he was on, could switch between the shows. That's how they built it up. They haven't said that that's going to be the case this time. So that's why I'm a bit worried. Again, Becky and Natalya, are they ever going to have another shot at the Women's Championship? Because that's now on Raw. If they haven't said that the belts can... Like the same with the tag teams. Can the tag teams jump over? Can the mid-card belts jump? There's no rules.
There's no rules.
It's a bit confusing at this point, and I hope they kind of clear this up really quickly. Because it's not even been 12 hours, and I think that this should have been something that they should have discussed before the draft even happened. Like, when... Again, I know I could bring up a lot of comparisons to the 2002 draft, but you kind of have to. That's the first time it was done, and that's the only thing that we can kind of compare it to. But I remember with the 2002 draft, Linda McMahon, right, was introduced on the screen. And she kind of laid out the law. She said, this is what's going to happen. There's going to be 1 pick for each. There's going to be 10 picks per show for the whole of the show. She said that Steve Austin was a free agent, and he can pick which show he wants to be on. She said that the Undisputed Championship will be defended on both shows. Same with the Women's Championship. She made this clear before the show even before the draft even started. And yet we're now, not even 12 hours of recording. We're recording this not even 12 hours after the draft has happened. And yet we don't know what's going to happen with the WWE Championship, the Women's Championship, the Tag Team Championship. I don't want them to introduce another I don't want them to bring back the Divas Championship. I don't want them to split the tag team belts. Right, I don't want them to make 2 world titles. There's no point. It makes it redundant.
It really does. It really does. And to further drive home what this Divas Revolution was basically for nothing, in which case you have Raw with Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Nia Jax, Paige, Summer Rae, Alicia Fox, and Dana Brooke. Meanwhile, SmackDown, Becky Lynch, Natalya, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Eva Marie, and Carmella. What can you do with these rosters? They work better as a unit than they do separate.
Yeah, if they all went to SmackDown, that's fine. I'd be excited that they brought up more women to the SmackDown brand. Especially if Raw's now going to have the Cruiserweight title and the tag titles, SmackDown can have the women's title. Right? Like, I understand that SmackDown's a smaller show, but hey, maybe you can make the first hour the women's division and then the second hour the male division.
The rest. Everything. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas, but this is what I mean. We don't know what's going on, and it's very confusing. And that's what I'm worried about. What's going to happen to people like Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Natalya, Naomi? Like, they are strong female competitors, and yet, what are they going to be doing on SmackDown?
Precisely.
I mean, you think of again back in the heyday of the original draft split, the women on Raw. You had Trish, Lita, Mickie James, Gail Kim, Victoria. Like, they were really strong personalities. What women were on SmackDown? Joy Giovanni. Jillian Hall. And that's all I can think of off the top of my head. So,
point proven.
There you go.
It's ridiculous.
They shouldn't have split up the division, and it's the same with the tag teams divisions. Like, I think that has been a massive mistake, and the fact that they were arguing up until an hour before it even happened shows that I don't even think they know what they're doing. And I think this is gonna. The problem is now what's done is done, and they have to sleep in the bed that they've made. And I think it's going to be.
It's weird that you say that because Battleground still has to happen, and the way that things have been drafted, we could see the titles change brands.
Yes, I was going to say, actually, I genuinely believe that the United States Championship will go to SmackDown, and the Intercontinental will go to Raw, because, obviously, Zack Ryder's challenging for the US title. He's a SmackDown guy,
Yep.
and he's challenging for a Raw Championship. Again, it was the same. I know I bring it up a lot, but it was the same with the original draft split because Rob Van Dam was the Intercontinental Champion on Raw. Then Chris Benoit. Sorry, Stevie Richards.
Yeah.
Stevie
Get his
Richards
name right.
won the Intercontinental
Super Hall of
title.
Famer. Deserves respect.
Won the Intercontinental title, even though he was a SmackDown guy, took the Intercontinental title to SmackDown for a month, and then Rob Van Dam challenged him again at SummerSlam of 2002 and regained the belt and took it back to Raw. So there's a chance that can happen. I genuinely believe Zack Ryder's going to take the US title. They're building him up, I think, to be... I know, but I think they're building him up to be his, the next major US champion, with everything that's going on. He's going to take the title to SmackDown, and Darren Young's going to take the Intercontinental title to Raw.
That I would be happy with. But at the same time, fucking Mojo Rawley. Okay, small rant here. Everyone knows what I dislike the hype bros in general. Zack Ryder, very underwhelming for me, even lately with his new rebrand. I still don't think much of him. Mojo Rawley, fuck off, mate. Go do... I don't care. I don't care about Mojo Rawley. He's obnoxious. He's not good in the ring. He does bad promo work. I've got nothing to like about him. I feel sorry for Zack Ryder. You build him up as a single star, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna win the fucking United States Championship from a guy that I jobbed out to last year. Oh look, it's Mr. Hype Man. He's gonna make me be a tag team with him. Oh no, what of me now?
And not just be a tag team with him, they've got nothing to aim towards, because there's no tag team division on SmackDown. I don't know, I think I'm very confused as to what's going on, and I really hope they don't make, like, another tag team belt for the SmackDown guys. I don't want them to make another world title, because it didn't, like, it worked when there was a hard split. It did, it worked. But then when, I don't know, I just don't think... I think it just makes it redundant. What's the point of unifying it? Like, I never got the point of unifying the belt in 2001, and then, like, 9 months later they disputed the belt. Like, I know it's been nearly 3 years since they unified the belt originally, but what's the point? What's the point of unifying it just to split it again down the road?
Well, I tell you, because they don't think down the road. They think now. They think, hey, we need the championships unified. What's gonna happen in 3 years from now? I don't fucking know. We just need one champion now, and then they go for it now for 3 years, and then they think, let's just do a draft for, like, no reason.
Yeah, I know. I mean, again, back to the original that happened. They made it, you know, the titles got unified, like, in December, so right at the very tail end of 2001. And they made, like, a mini tournament for the belt. So it was like The Rock defended against Chris Jericho, Austin defended against Kurt Angle, and then the winner of those two matches would put their two championships on the line, respectively, and walk out with both belts. And they kind of made it like a big deal. I don't think it was treated as a big deal as much in 2013, when it was just a TLC match for both belts between Orton and Cena, in a match that we had seen several times. But, you know, with the original one, after, like, Brock Lesnar somehow signed a contract that made him exclusive to SmackDown, even though he was a champion and that was against the rule. And then Eric Bischoff just comes out and just like, oh, look, I've got the old WCW belt. I'm going to crown a new champion. Here you go, Triple H. And it was just so anticlimactic. And I don't want that to happen again. I don't want Mick Foley to come out and just give Seth Rollins, like, the old WCW belt.
Ugh. I mean,
or, hey, God forbid, the old spinner belt.
I mean, if Rollins wins at Battleground, he takes the title to Raw. What I think is going to happen, this triple threat is going to end in some fuckery where both of them pin Roman Reigns. And then they have to think, oh, instead of just deciding who gets the belt, make two.
And then, like, the Raw one is a red strap and the SmackDown one is a blue strap.
Oh, kill me now. I don't need two world champions. There's already enough world champions with these different promotions. Now you want one promotion with two different ones? Who's best? Nobody fucking knows. Nobody cares. What world do we live in? A world with two world champions. That's what.
The thing is, as well, is that I don't want WWE to turn themselves into UFC, right?
Andy's going to dislike you there, I think.
I know, but hear me out, right? Because the thing about UFC is all their championship belts look the same, and that's fine for MMA. But I mean, I don't really like it, but I'm not as big as an MMA fan as Andy.
No.
But with WWE, you look at the classic designs, like some of them are just so iconic. If you turn all of them to looking the same, I mean, already the Women's Championship looks like a smaller, white, reddish version of the main men's belt. And, okay, that I can get on board with, but I don't want them to turn... Look, if you're going to have two world champions, don't make this... I don't know. I just can't be bothered, Sam. I can't be bothered arguing. No. Because it's so stupid that this is... I feel like they've booked themselves into a corner.
They have. And they always do this. They always book themselves into a corner. They don't think ahead. They just do things for the sake of doing them. No one thinks anymore. Because...
Why split up the women's division? Why split up the tag team division? It doesn't make sense.
Why split up the club? Why split up the Wyatt family? The only good thing that could come out of splitting the club is if Gallows and Anderson go off with Finn Balor.
Ah, yes, because they're both on Raw.
That's the only possibility. The Wyatt family, you got nothing. Braun Strowman is a single star.
Well, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that we're missing. Just before we kind of start wrapping up.
Yes.
Here's the other thing we're missing. Don't forget, they split up the Wyatt family before.
It didn't fucking work.
Wyatt released them, right? He released them. And it didn't work, and they reformed, because they were all crap by themselves.
You know what happens when he split the Wyatt family? Eric Rowan became a vintner. He got a genius-level IQ, he played with a Rubik's Cube, and he was obsessed with Renee Young.
I think I missed this.
It happened for like 2 months. Remember Survivor Series 2014? Team Cena,
really.
Eric Rowan.
Not really.
Glad you don't. I remember it. I go to sleep every night and I think, man, the vintner, Eric Rowan. Wow. What is Braun Strowman gonna do now? Unless you bring back Luke Harper and you have the Wyatt family, fucking Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan on SmackDown converting all their people, and then you have Luke Harper and Braun Strowman on the fucking Raw show. There's just nothing in Braun Strowman that's good right now. Oh man, there's a lot of weaknesses with this, and I think the one thing everyone was really, really upset about is no Bayley.
Yeah.
Saying that, Sasha Banks has a mystery partner at this week's Battleground pay-per-view against Charlotte and Dana Brooke. It is Sasha Banks and a mystery partner. I'm gonna say that's when Bayley comes up. Could have done it in the draft, guys, but no, mystery partner tease. I mean, who else would it be?
Trish Stratus.
Fucking brilliant. This is... I think it's about time we wrapped up now, in all honesty.
It is, yes.
I've exasperated all of my qualms and all of my good things about this.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know if you think the draft, you like the results, you dislike the results, do you agree with any of our opinions, do you disagree? What would you do with the divisions? Would you keep them split? Would you make new champions for the new divisions? Let us all know. Let us all know. Wow.
And I have a question for everybody in the comments section. Why Mojo Rawley? You have 6 people from NXT to call up, alright? I'm gonna random, this will be the end of the show, alright? Finn Balor, totally understand. Been the face of a brand for like a year now. That's understandable, right? Nia Jax, oh, you could have picked better, but at the same time, she's not deaf incarnate like some of the people would have you believe. Carmella, fine. Alexa Bliss, fine. American Alpha, even better. You have Shinsuke Nakamura! You have fucking Kota Ibushi later down the line, spoiler alert. You have Hideo Itami.
Aries.
You have Austin Aries. You have Mojo Rawley. Who puts a roster together and thinks, I want Mojo Rawley? Did Carmine book this?
That's why he's been so quiet.
Yeah.
That's why he's barely here.
Yeah. He knows. He knows what he's doing to me with this. And he wanted to avoid it. Comment section, tell me, why Mojo? Why him over everyone else you've got to picked? Why? And that's it, we're done.
I'm, of course, Liam Dunn.
I'm Sam Brooks, and I'm angry.
He gets hype, and he stays hype.
Stay off my fucking TV.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Rare.